Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Guys, all of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online, guys. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Yeah. Good evening. Good evening. Hmm? Hmm? ఎవరు ఏ బ్యాచ్ లో తెలుసు అందరికీ తెలుసు Hmm. Right. Good evening, guys. And all of you are getting this classroom notes link. All of you are watching the classroom notes. Okay. Right, sir. So in the last class, just we provided some comparison between all the frameworks. What exactly the comparisons here we provided between the frameworks like a Spring framework and other frameworks, the topics if you understand it. So here we have a question. So what was that question here we are giving there? What was the question here? To prepare applications, or simply speaking, to prepare enterprise applications or simply applications, we already have struts and JSF. Then what is the requirement to use Spring framework? This is the question here what we are having. So where answers are very clear. Now try to understand this clearly. Struts and JSF are web application frameworks. They will provide a very good environment to prepare only web applications. But whereas Spring is an application framework, it will provide a very good environment to prepare any type of applications like standalone application, web application, distributed application, database related application, and so on. Struts is a controller based web application. All right, it will have very good focus on only controller layer, but JSF is a view based web framework. It will have a very good focus on the presentation layer, that means the view part. Similarly, struts and JSF are having, sorry, Spring framework will have a very good focus on all the layers of the enterprise applications. Okay, right. Struts and JSF are having, struts and JSF are heavyweight frameworks. They must create more objects internally to perform any action. But Spring is a lightweight framework. It is not required to create any object internally to perform any task. A simple. All right, sir. Struts and JSF are more API dependent. They must use a more predefined library. Spring framework is less API dependent. It will use a less predefined library. In the case of struts and JSF, debugging and testing are very much difficult. In the case of Spring, debugging and testing are very simple. Struts and JSF are modularized frameworks. For any simple program, we must load. Struts and JSF are not modularized frameworks. For any simple program, we must load the complete struts and JSF frameworks. We have to load the total frameworks. But Spring is a modularized framework. For any simple program, the respective module has to be loaded instead of loading the complete Spring framework. Understand the point clear? What I'm telling you know? These are the various differences here we are getting. After that, observe carefully. Few more points. Here we are going to add for this particular content here. One point, one small drawback, not actually a drawback, no, but one small drawback about like what there. Struts and JSF are having very good tag libraries to prepare view layer. To prepare what there? View layer. Struts and JSF are having, or struts and JSF very good have very good tag libraries to prepare the view layer. Tag libraries are very good component tag libraries. In other words, we can say this. But Spring framework has a very simple tag libraries, very simple tag libraries to prepare view layer. So in general, for example, here, what is the point here I'm telling to you? I want to prepare some check boxes, radio buttons, list boxes. So in the presentation part, for all these GUI components, for all the UI components, Spring framework has, Struts framework, Struts and JSF both are having very good tag libraries. More and more number of tags are available. But Spring framework is having very less tag library in this particular area. That is one small drawback. But anyway, it is not drawback, no. But it is one of the points here. No? See, one thing I'm telling to you. Nowadays, nobody is preparing viewport by using Spring provided tag library or Struts provided tag library or JSF provided tag library. Nobody is preparing this UI part by using these frameworks provided tag library. Everybody, they are using the most advanced UI technologies to prepare presentation part or to prepare viewport. The best example, REST API. That means like what there, React.js. People are using like what there, React.js. Previously Angular. Now it is what there, React.js. By using that React.js, people are preparing that presentation part. That means view part. Nobody is preparing by using like what there, this frameworks provided tag library. But still, in the point of these tag libraries, if you want to compare Struts, JSF, and Spring framework there, these are the various points here we have to understand clearly. Spring has light, that means very less libraries to prepare this viewport, but Struts and JSF are having what their good tag libraries to prepare viewport. This is one point here we can identify clearly. Right, that's okay, fine. Next one is another point here we have to understand it clearly. Another difference, no? The complete Struts and JSF, or also simply Struts and JSF. Struts and JSF are following MVC and its correlated design patterns. That's it. Basically, Struts and JSF are what? Struts and JSF are MVC based frameworks, MVC based web frameworks. So they're following mainly MVC and its correlated patterns only, not any other patterns. Other design principles or other design patterns, they're not going to be followed. MVC and its correlated. What MVC we already aware, and its correlated design patterns are what? Maximum we are going to take the other design patterns like what there. Front controller is one of the design pattern. DTO, data transfer object, is another design pattern. DAO maybe another design pattern. And my point, so like what, apart from this, internally some other design patterns are also be used. What other design patterns are used there internally? Or maybe chain of responsibilities design pattern. Like this, one or two number of design patterns there we are able to use. But all these design patterns are correlated with what their MVC pattern. So struts and JSF are mainly for what their MVC. Mainly they are using MVC and its correlated design patterns only. Understand my point now? But in the case of Spring framework, what happened there? Spring in a Spring, I'm telling you, in a Spring framework, only web MVC module is following MVC and its correlated design patterns, but the remaining modules of the Spring framework are able to follow different are able to follow what their different design patterns. Different design patterns in the sense like what there follows. Other modules of the Spring framework are able to follow other design patterns too. Other design patterns too, or maybe other design patterns also. Other design patterns like what there. We can identify like what there. Inversion of control. Sir, got it or not? Inversion of control. It's the main design pattern. Or in other words, we can say it is like what there. Dependency injections. Dependency injection and so on and so on. Factories. Factory methods. Design pattern. Factory methods. Factory method and factory classes. Factory methods and what there? Factory classes. Next one is what there? Singleton. Singleton design pattern. And so on and so on and so on. Top level design patterns are given, but if we go for more content internally, more and more number of design patterns are coming there. Understand my point clearly? What's the point here I'm telling to you? Struts and JSF are using mainly MVC and its related design patterns, but in Spring framework, only the web MVC module is following MVC and its related design patterns, but the remaining modules of the Spring framework is able to follow. Remaining modules of the Spring framework are able to follow other design patterns like what there, inversion of control, like what, dependency injection, factory methods, factory classes, singleton, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So many things are available. This is one of the points here we have to understand clearly. Clear. So let's move on to the another point here about this struts and JSF. For example, anyway, you're not aware anything about the struts and JSF, no, but points only we have to understand just in the comparison. But less chances are available to ask this question at present. As I said to you already, 5 to 6 years back, if we take the situation, no, this is one of the important interview question. Why? Because by the time struts and JSF are in active, they are in live. So everybody they are thinking about like what their struts and JSF. You are not aware about it. At one situation, almost if we take might be 7 to 10 years back now, struts framework is in its peak position. For the struts, previously I shown some flow of execution of the struts now. At least if we explain that flow of execution, automatically you are getting jobs in outside market. JSF also having the almost the same position. But when a Spring framework is getting more demand, automatically all these frameworks are getting less demand. Now the situation is what there, that struts and JSF is almost all dead in outside, but Spring framework is in its highest. Understand it, what I'm telling to you. So then finally the point here, what I'm telling to you, apart from this, Spring framework is having very good demand. Other frameworks are not having demand. Due to that reason, interviewers may or may not ask this question in the comparison. But discussing these points in the comparison, that is our responsibility. As part of that responsibility, I'm discussing with you. At least try to read all the points. No, when if you are having this type of question in any interview, then try to explore all the points here. Then automatically they are going to understand. You're having the overall knowledge and what they're all the frameworks clearly. Fine, sir. This is one thing here we have to identify. Okay, fine. Now let's move to the punch here. One more point I'm asking to you. One main difference. Now tell me, you only tell me one main difference between Spring and these two remaining two frameworks. What is the one main difference I require? Now tell me. One main fundamental difference I require. Tell me what is that fundamental difference? No. Struts and JSF are web application frameworks, but whereas Spring framework is what their application framework. Web frameworks and application frameworks. Web frameworks are providing environment for only web environment, web tier in our enterprise application. But Spring framework is providing environment at each and every corner of the enterprise application, every layer of the enterprise application. Got it or not? Now try to understand this point clearly. All of you observe carefully. In struts and JSF, there is no predefined environment. There is no predefined environment to integrate the there is no predefined environment to integrate the other technology applications like JDBC comma EJBs comma understand my point here, JDBC comma EJBs comma Hibernate and so on and so on and so on, where we have to write there we have to provide integration environment explicitly. Understand my point, Kiran? To integrate other applications, other technology programs with the struts and JSF, we don't have any predefined environment. There we have to write explicitly that environment in order to integrate other technology applications with our with the struts and JSF. Got or not? But this is very simple, or this is very effective in the case of Spring framework. In Spring framework, what is going to be happen actually? Spring framework has provided a very good environment. Spring framework has provided a very good environment. To integrate the other technology applications. Very good environment is available. Now let me provide that environment. No examples here I am telling to you. Observe carefully. Spring JDBC module is to allow JDBC integration with the Spring. This is one example. Another example, Spring ORM module is able to allow Hibernate integration with the Spring. Understand my point clearly? Next one, another example here I'm telling to you. Spring web module. What is this module? Web module, not web MVC. Web MVC is different, web is different. Spring web MVC is different, Spring web is different. So Spring web module is able to allow struts comma JSF comma and so on integration with Spring. That means Spring Web MVC is having MVC based framework, but Spring Web module is exclusively for the sake of integrating other MVC based applications like struts applications or JSF applications and so on with our Spring application. So got it or not? Now we can identify this clearly. Spring is providing very good integration layer or not, to integrate other technologies, to integrate like what their other technology applications. Clear cut information here we have to understand. Struts and JSF are not having integration layer, very good integration layer, but Spring has provided very good integration layer. Because of these modules, due to the availability of these modules, it is able to allow to integrate all other technology applications with our content clear to all of you know? Right, sir. That's okay, fine. Next one is apart from this, all right, sir. Listen, all of you listen carefully. Another point here I'm telling to you. If you observe this view technologies, like what are the various view technologies? Now tell me. UI technologies. Now tell me. HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, then jQuery, Ajax. Yes, sir. All these things are UI technologies or not? Not only that, time life, velocity. Is a good or not? Time life, velocity, and so on. So many. Good. Understand this point clearly. Struts and JSF are not having any inbuilt support to integrate going on. Guys, all of you there, please confirm to me. All of you are here. All of you are getting my voice on screen now. Please confirm to me. All of you are getting my voice on screen, guys. Now, please confirm to me. Yeah, it's okay. Just 1 minute, guys. Then here we have power failure regarding these classes. Then just wait few minutes of time so that after that we are going to continue the content now. Yeah, power failure is going on here, so that unable to take the class. Just wait here within 2 minutes. Within few minutes, I'll start your session. Okay. Yeah. In offline classes, power failure is going on. Not possible to attend the class. Just wait few minutes of time, then I'll start the class. కనుక్కోండి ఎంత టైం వస్తుంది ఏడు వేలు మినిట్ కదా guys, this I'm going to stop this recording no just whenever I'm coming back to the class, just give intimation to me, guys. Okay, those are attending in online, just I'm going to stop this recording